Haiti borders with the Dominican.
Her name is Serena Buffalino. They call her Mrs. B, and her class always begins with a pledge.
Something local, something global. Haiti.
They're words that carry
Yes.
weight here. Helping yourself means helping others, giving back, here and a world away in Haiti.
And nobody's helping them, except for people like us.
It was through her the class learned of Haiti, of the nearly 1 million orphans, many with no school, no support, no Mrs. B in their lives.
They could not wrap their head around that.
Mrs. B's students are among Toronto's most at risk. Their challenges vary from emotional and behavioral difficulties to learning disabilities. Their trauma is so severe they can't function in a regular school setting, and we aren't allowed to show most of their classmates.
For most of the kids, most of society has turned them away. And in this classroom, they're accepted. They're accepted no matter what for who they are.
Take Yolanda. She came here last year so burdened and withdrawn, she would often fall silent, sometimes for days on end. It was, she says, Mrs. B's patience, her quiet encouragement, that saved her.
She actually saves people's lives from dangers.
And perhaps that's why these marginalized kids feel such a kinship with the orphans of Haiti, and why they were moved to act.
And so when Yolanda and Jackie and Patrick said, well, Miss B, we need to build them a school.
Build a school, no easy task. They started out raising money. They sold samosas, washed cars, screened movies, you name it. And in just a few months, this little class raised $20,000. So much, it's not just a one-room schoolhouse they can build, but a full 3-story school. And so Mrs. B set off on a journey she'd dreamed of, up into the dusty mountains above Port-au-Prince to a town called Canaan. It's home to thousands of earthquake refugees who live with no running water, no electricity, and no school, until now. The first step was a temporary school. It's up and running. 53 students already in uniform. The permanent school for 250 is growing from its foundations.
It makes me want to cry because she just makes me feel so awed, and I'm very proud of her.
All of this because of a handful of students back in Canada and Mrs. B, the teacher who believed in them.
These are for you.
At another fundraiser, a special tribute to the students, accepted by someone who, without Mrs. B, might not be here.
They believe in me and I believe in them, and together we not only change our lives, but we change the world around us.
For inspiring great things and seeing the potential in everyone, Serena Buffalino is this week's Everyday Hero.
This is the reason why I do what I do, is because of Yolanda and all the
Good morning. Bonjour, ni hao, hola, bienvenue, wan yin, bienvenidos, and welcome to another episode of The Gem Hunter. My name is Barry Mixon, and I am a gemological storyteller. And each and every week, what I like to do is take you on a journey, on an adventure into the art, science, history, and magic of gemstones, precious metals, and fine jewelry. I believe that gemstones can serve as a mental, physical, and spiritual bridge to help people begin to discover the value of their own stories. We got a really great show. I'm so excited, and there's so much information to cover because today is the 200th anniversary of one of the greatest people in history, Napoleon Bonaparte, okay, or Napoleon Bonaparte. And I say that his name like that because Napoleon actually wasn't French. He was Corsican. He was Corsican, that little island just right off of Italy. It's like one of the second or third largest island other than Sicily and Crete. Napoleon was born August 15th, 1769. He was born to a middle to upper middle class family. His family history came from Tuscan descent, and his family moved to Corsica. The reason why Napoleon's background and story is so poignant to me, the reason why Napoleon touches me, he is one of my favorite people in the whole world. He's actually one of my heroes. Now, I understand that Napoleon was not a dictator. He was an emperor. He was an emperor. Yes, there was some dictatorial things that he did. Napoleon was not perfect by any stretch of imagination. But the thing that I love about Napoleon was the simple fact that Napoleon used stories to the nth degree. As a storyteller, when you really understand what Napoleon did with stories, it just blows your mind. Napoleon was, when he was born, he wasn't nothing remarkable. He was a middle average kid. He graduated something like number 42 out of 58 students when he went to military school. His family, again, came from noble descent, not high noble, but noble descent. His father and mother, Carlos and Letitia, had him. He was the fourth of 8 children. And he was about 4'6", actually 5'6". He was 5'6", so he wasn't a tall guy. 5'6", we call him the little corporal. That's really because of his nickname, le petit caporal, which comes really from his last name as far as Bonaparte, which of course he changed to Bonaparte once the French influence came in. But the thing that makes Napoleon so incredible is the fact that he knew that he wanted to be an emperor. He knew it. He knew it from a child. Napoleon would read books all the time. In fact, he read more books. He would rather read books than eat. And that actually happened. He was going through a hard time. Him and his brother didn't have a lot of money. He had a choice between books and food. And he chose books. And he read voraciously. He read everything. And he read books about Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, because he saw himself as an emperor. Take a second to think about that. Take a second. Today is Wednesday morning, depending on where we are in the world. It'll be Wednesday afternoon for my friends and family in Europe and Asia. But here in America, it is Wednesday morning. And imagine waking up and just looking around the world, looking around your environment, and just saying, yeah, I think I can run all this. I mean, just think about what kind of, and this is a family show, so I won't say, but just imagine the cojones that you need to have to just imagine yourself running the whole world, or what was known of the world at that point in time. That's Napoleon. And the reason why his story is so important, not just because today is his 200th anniversary, but because of how it fits into everything that we've been talking about for the last few weeks. The last few weeks, we have been talking about starting with the whole concept of gem identification. Finding someone who matches what you want in your life. That person, male or female, as I always say, fill in the blank. So for me, it's women. So imagine just finding that person that just fits everything that you want. Gem identification. We talked about the attributes of a gemstone. We talked about rarity. We talked about beauty, durability, desirability, and then next week we'll talk about value. But before we get to value, the first four really talks to or speaks to what was Napoleon's primary problem. Napoleon, if you have ever visited France or you have seen pictures of France, that's all Napoleon. Napoleon is what makes France France. When you go around France, all you see is the N. You see the N symbol of him. You see the eagle. His one of his things that he was into was the eagle. So that was a symbol of his empire, the Black Eagle. I visited a hotel where literally it was a hotel and restaurant, and the name of the hotel was basically the Black Eagle. So Napoleon, because he read so much about Roman and Greek conquerors, he patterned his whole empire based on Roman type of thinking, because he was, in his mind, going back to the classics is what would make what would make France, bring back France, the greatness of France, especially after the revolution. So he didn't join the army. He went to military school, les Infirmiers. I'm sorry. I've come back with the word, so I'm just kind of excited. So infiltrates, okay, les invalides. Thank you. Sorry, I have a little problem with my French today. Les invalides, which is a military academy. And again, he didn't graduate top of his class, but when he got into it, he was basically, how old was he? He went there to about 1785. 1785. He was 16 years old when his father died. His father died from stomach cancer, which is really interesting. His father died of stomach cancer, which created this fear in Napoleon for the rest of his life about doctors, because the doctor had told Napoleon's father to eat something like strawberries. If he ate strawberries, that he would live or he would get over the illness. Obviously, he didn't. He died. So Napoleon had to deal with the death of his father when he was 16 years old. He graduated from military school at 16. And just to let you know, so he graduated military school in 1785. He was a second lieutenant, just to give you an idea of the greatness of this man. First of all, Napoleon was the most fortunate man in the world. He should have been killed at least 3 to 4 times, and somehow or other, he always got out of it. So he was 16 when he graduated from school, military school. It was 1791 when he became a first lieutenant. He deserted. He actually deserted the army. So Napoleon, this great general that we study, I was in the Marine Corps 14 years, one of the military training commands, Napoleon was required reading. So he deserted from the army in 1792. He obviously should have been or would have been killed, but because France had just declared war on Austria, he was forgiven for that. He became a major in 1793. So he went from deserter to becoming a major. And by the time he was 24 years old, he was a brigadier general. So he was only in the military for a minute before he went from second lieutenant to brigadier general. Napoleon already saw when he was fighting campaigns in Egypt, he saw that there was rumblings going on as far as the French Revolution, things of this. And what happened was they were running out of soldiers. A lot of the soldiers were leaving because a lot of them were being captured or jailed or beheaded as a result of the French Revolution. But what Napoleon saw was an opportunity. His reading, his understanding of stories, he understood the character that he played in his own story. So he saw the French Revolution as an opportunity. He left his troops in in Egypt to go back to the French government. And from there, he became the part of what's called the consulate. He became the first consul. It used to be 5 guys. He had it reduced to 3 guys where he was in charge. So he went from being a general to being a politician. And this is before he became an emperor. All right. So he moved up because of some battles. Napoleon literally was involved in a battle that killed a lot of his own, well, I won't say his own Frenchmen because he wasn't really considered French, but he was living in France. And one of the battles that he did fighting to save the government, kind of like in the United States, we had the whole insurrection. Well, he helped put down one of the insurrections from the royalists that wanted to bring back the monarchy. He killed quite a few people in that, and he was considered a hero because he saved the government. So they gave him a command position, and which at that time he became kind of an attaché for the army in the interior. He was moving up the line politically, and then that's where we get to the crux, the main thing of today's story, which is women. Napoleon Bonaparte met the woman that everybody knows. This is Josephine. This is Josephine, his whole name was Marie Joseph Rose Tacher de la Pagerie. Josephine wasn't French. Josephine was she was from Martinique. So she was, as they called her, she was Creole, and she was just spectacularly beautiful. She was exotic, and she fell in love with, let me back up. Napoleon fell in love with her in something like 1795. He met her, he fell in love with her. And what makes Napoleon's problem so interesting is that Napoleon had the same problems with women that we see a lot of the politicians have today. Napoleon fell in love with Josephine and lost with Josephine when he was 26. She was 6 years older, so she was 32 years old. And they got engaged in January of 1796. Now, they met in 1795, around about November, December. He got engaged with her January of 1795. And by March of that same year, March 9th to be exact, he married her. Now, if you understand, say I'm older now. Say I've made so many of the same mistakes that Napoleon. You see this beautiful woman. When we talked about the attributes of a gemstone, and one of the attributes was beauty, was beauty. He saw Josephine and fell head over heels in love with her. Let me read you a letter, because what a lot of people don't realize is what Napoleon did to get her. Napoleon was the ultimate multitasker. He could do 7 different things at the same time. He would be fighting wars, and he would have to write a love letter to Josephine. Like before he even got off his horse, he would start writing a love letter. So this is and so I have a whole book, literally, this book right here. You can see the thickness of it. This is a book of just his love letters to Josephine, not his other wife, Marie Louise. We'll talk about her in a second. This is the love letters that he wrote to Josephine. Now, before I get into the love letters, let me tell you who Josephine was. His first mistake, Napoleon's first mistake. Josephine had already been married before. Her husband, she was from Martinique. They had a rich family in Martinique. They had a plantation, things, sugar, things of this. and a hurricane came and wiped out most of the family's property. So they were broke. That's why Josephine moved to France and found Napoleon. But when she got to France, because of her beauty, because she was so exotic, that she was dating everybody. I mean, it's when you read about Josephine, you read that she was a widowed mother of 2 children, and she had many lovers. And I said to myself, many? How many is many? She had at least 6 or 7 different lovers. This is before he met her. And in France, everybody knew everybody's business. So his first mistake is he got with a woman that really wasn't somebody that you picked. Remember gem identification? Well, he didn't realize that. All he saw was the beauty. So let me read you one of the letters. Obviously, this whole book is in French. I will not try to read. Let's see. Let's start from there. Le Cornard letter. Mon amable adorable, mon ami. I will not butcher the French today. For some reason, I'm just too excited. I can't. So let me read you what he wrote in English. I got your letter, my beloved. It has filled my heart with joy. I am grateful to you for the trouble you have taken to send me news. Your health should be better today. I am sure you are cured. I urge you to strongly ride, which cannot fail to do you good. Ever since I left you, I have been sad. Now, let me give you, this letter was written in July of 1796. So he had just met her. Remember, he got married with her in January. He got married. He got engaged with her in January 1796. So he had already knew her background, everything. And this is the letter that he wrote. Ever since I left you, I have been sad. I am only happy when I am by your side. Ceaselessly, I recall your kisses, your tears, your enchanting jealousy, and the charms of the incomparable Josephine keeps constantly alight, a bright and burning flame in my heart and senses. When I am free from every worry, from all business, shall I spend all my moments by your side. To have nothing to do but to love you, and to prove it, I shall send your horse. I am hoping that you will soon be able to rejoin me. I thought I loved you some days ago, but since I saw you, I feel that I love you even 1,000 times more. Ever since I've known you, I've worshiped you more every day, which proves who's false in the maxim of La Librairie, that love comes all at once. Everything in nature has a regular course and the different degrees of growth. Ah, pray let me see some of your faults, be it less beautiful, less gracious, less tender, and especially less kind. Above all, never be jealous, never weep. Your tears madden me, fire my blood. Be sure that it is no longer possible for me to have a thought except for you, or an idea of which you shall not be the judge. Have a good rest. Haste to get well. Come and join me so that at least before dying, we could say we were happy for so many days. Millions of kisses, even to Fortune, in spite of his naughtiness, Bonaparte. I mean, and then he wrote letters. I mean, this was his letter to his wife that he already knew was out there. Josephine was out. This is the family show, but you can fill in the blank. Josephine was out there. In fact, Napoleon and Josephine got married March 9th, 1796, and he got selected to become the commander-in-chief of the army of Italy, and they were fighting a war at that point in time. So when he got married March 9th, he had to leave 2 days later. Josephine literally had an affair, started a whole affair with one of his officers, a lieutenant, a few weeks after that. Napoleon wrote her all the time. I mean, again, this is just the love letters. This from here, this whole section here is just basically love letters between 1796 and 1804. There must be about 50 to 60 love letters. Ladies, ask yourself, how many times has your man, in the whole time that you've been together, how many times has your man written a love letter? Or I know technology has texted you. This is who Napoleon was. He was the ultimate romantic, and at the same time fighting a war. Literally, there's stories where Napoleon would be bullets and cannonballs would be blowing up all around him, and he would have one of his guys either bring him his paper, or he would transcribe and dictate his love letters to Josephine. Josephine didn't care nothing about Napoleon. She really didn't. And his love letters go from loving her, that she was, again, the fever from which I shall never recover, to hating her once he found out who she was. But even in hating her, in 1804, December 2nd, 1804, he made her an empress. He made her an empress. This was her crown. This was her crown. This was her jewelry that he presented to Josephine. This is the woman that was cheating on him, never visited him. He wrote letters. He sent whole detachments to collect Josephine, and Josephine never came. In fact, one point, he thought she died on the way coming because he could not believe that this woman, his wife, never gave him the time of day. Gem identification. See, the beauty of gemstones, the beauty of gemology is a lot like an iceberg. What you see at the top, when you look at this necklace, you say to yourself, oh my God, how beautiful it is. But you don't know where it comes from, what the background of it, where it comes from, who owned it before. That's the interesting part. So after a few years, he realized, she was sleeping with everybody. He never stopped loving her. He loved her for his whole entire life. Like I told you about a month ago about Forrest Gump, how Forrest Gump loved her. And even when she died, he looked at her grave and said, if you ever need anything at all, I won't be that far away. That's the way Napoleon loved Josephine. While he was doing all the political background, while he was becoming one of the most powerful men in the world. And in September 2nd, 1804, he not only crowned himself emperor, he made himself an emperor, had the Pope come down. Napoleon was a total politician, complete, perfect politician. He knew that the Pope had to come into it to bless all the combating forces, political forces. And then once he took the crown of Charlemagne, he got that crown, put it on his head. And then he took the crown off, put gold leaves around his head, and he became what we know as Napoleon the First. And then he turned around and crowned Josephine, his empress. And as a man, I started thinking to myself about my own relationships, like, my God, what do you want? What do you want? This man has literally given you the world, and you still don't particularly care for him. So after a few years, he realized that Josephine, for whatever reason, could not have children. Now, she had children from before. She had a boy and a girl, Eugene and Hortense. Hortense is the girl. Eugene was the boy. From her previous marriage, where her husband got his head cut off because of the whole French Revolution. She couldn't have a baby. So what he did was he divorced her. He requested a divorce something like November 30th, I think 1809, 5 years. And then January 10th, 1810, he got the divorce. 4 months later, he married his new wife, which was, her name was Marie Louise. Marie Louise was a part of the Austrian monarchy. And what people don't understand when people talk about how cruel Napoleon was. I have a good friend, Martina, and her mother, Marjorie. Hi, Martina, in France. Martina hates Napoleon because, he's just a sexist. Yes, he was sexist. He was sexist because Josephine broke his heart. And that's not really a reason, but that's what I'm saying. His whole focus, or the way he saw women, changed after Josephine broke his heart. So now when he married Marie Louise, he basically said, I just need a womb. I just need a womb. In fact, he talked to Josephine about it. When he divorced Josephine stayed the empress, and then he married Marie Louise. Now, Marie Louise married him. They were 22 years difference. Josephine was 6 years older than Napoleon. Now, Marie Louise was 22 years younger. He decided to take a younger route, 22 years younger. And she didn't care about him too much either. They got married, April 1st. They got married April 1st. And then 4 months later, actually a year later, in March of 1811, they had Napoleon II. Napoleon, Francois, Charles, Joseph Bonaparte. Now, by the time that was about 1811. So he abdicated his crown, forced abdicated in 1814. And then they sent him the first time when England defeated him, or all the countries. Because you have to realize Napoleon, one of the reasons why Napoleon's great is Napoleon had at least 6 or 7 countries out to get him. Germany, Italy, Spain, England, all these countries hated him and wanted him out. And he defeated them 6 different times. Napoleon fought, I think, 88 different battles. He won 85. Waterloo was one of the ones that he lost. So he abdicated his throne in 1814, and they sent him to Elba. Elba is Here's his home, Corsica, which again, his Italy. Corsica was right off to, again, Napoleon was actually Italian or Corsican. The British sent him there. They had a whole blockade around him, and somehow he escaped. One of the things that Napoleon did was he arrived back to France, even though they had a whole division of men trained to look for Napoleon and to shoot him on sight. The moment he landed on the French shores, and according to stories, he literally landed. Soon as the general of that defending army was waiting for him, saw him, they said, "My emperor," and let him back in. He got back into power. He took over a whole country, without firing a shot, came back to power in 1815. He lost. He made one of the few mistakes he ever made in his life. It's actually just, he wasn't thinking all the way through the way he used to. And of course, women getting in your head can do that kind of thing. So he lost the Battle of Waterloo, overestimated his forces. Then they sent him to St. Helena. St. Helena, for those of you who don't know, this is St. Helena. St. Helena is a little tiny island. In fact, St. Helena is one of the most remote islands in the world. It's about 1,200 miles from Africa. So it sat in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. He had literally a whole fleet around the island because they were going to make sure that he did not leave. And Marie Louise didn't even visit him. This was Marie Louise's crown. In fact, he loved Marie Louise and still was loving women that much that during his time, all the women wore tiaras. The women of the court wear tiaras. Imagine everyone wearing tiaras like this, diamonds and rubies. And when he got exiled the second time around to Helena, when he abdicated, Marie Louise went back to Vienna, to Austria, with his son, had nothing to do with him, hooked up with another guy, had two children with the guy, even though she was still married to Napoleon. Then when Napoleon went to Elba, he was there. And then in 1821, today's date, what is today? May 5th, 1821, he died. And Marie Louise, she didn't even visit him, didn't do anything. All she did was marry the guy that she had been having an affair with in order to legitimize the two children that she already had. And then she had one more child. So again, gem identification. What gemstones do is basically kind of serve as a marker in regards to looking at the period of time that we're in. So Napoleon, we are celebrating a man that literally changed the world. France is France because of Napoleon. Their food is because of Napoleon. Knew that he needed to reach the population with food. The wine, drink, all these things are what Napoleon did. And his main problem was women, was picking the right mate. Again, discovering his own value and the value of the people that he thought he was in love with. So to my French fans and fans, Vive Napoleon. Okay, enjoy this day. And for those of you who watch my show, I want you again to take a moment to look at your mate, male or female. Look at your mate and see what they're about. Who are they? What type of gemstone? What characteristics they have? And then look at yourself and take the time to not to make the same mistakes as one of the greatest people in history, to discover the value of your own stories. See you next week. Au revoir.
Happy Wednesday. How are we doing? So, okay. I'm going to talk to Mr. Barry, boy. He was like on fire. And I had to get what they call it when you're on the stage and they got to get the little Rain Man to dance off and pull you off the stage. That's what I needed to do. I was like in the background, like, I love you, Barry, but you gotta wrap up. I love you, gotta save it for Wednesday. Save it for Wednesday. See, that's why he needs an hour show, which is about to happen in 2 more weeks. And he's gonna have a whole hour to give you a whole lot of stuff. And he'll probably go back to the story about Napoleon and just keep it going. But the thing that because me and Barry we talk about his shows beforehand and we have the conversations and I keep telling him, like, Barry, don't do that. I want to hear like everybody else on Wednesday. Don't tell me. I want to hear it on Wednesday. Uh, and he says, "Oh yeah. I just want to, And I get it. He is one thing about Barry. I have to give. He has so many good qualities. But one thing he wants to make sure, and you can tell, he wants to make sure he brings the value to you. He brings those stories. He makes you want to understand about the whole, because that's his life. He loves doing this kind of stuff. So you can tell the love in it. So Barry, next Wednesday, I'm telling you, you're good. You're getting the hours coming. It's coming. So with that, we need to get to our queen. I know Laura's down there like, hello. So we're going to bring Miss Laura up. I'm not going to talk anymore because I want you to hear this wonderful, awesome lady. And just to let you know real quickly, now her series has been going on for like maybe a month and a half or so, maybe almost 2 months. So today is the last day. But that's not the last of Miss Laura. That's not the last of the queen. She is going to switch, and I'm so excited that she decided to stay on with the Diamond Factor Experience show. She's going to be coming on Thursday. So just another day, not Wednesday, but Thursday. And we will be, showing promotions, all that good stuff. But I'm just happy that she's staying on with the team, with the family. But let her come on now so she can kind of at least wrap up this part of it. And then she's going to get more into other stuff that she'll talk about in the coming weeks. So here's Miss Laura.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? It's so great to be here today. I'm so excited to be presenting our final class for the Wednesday on our iOS Coaching Intelligence program. And today we're going to go over just kind of a review of all 6 of the intelligences we've covered over the last 7 weeks, and just kind of give you a wrap up on that. So where I want, where I want to start today is I'm going to go through each one and just do a quick blurb on each one. So this coaching program is based in the Bank coding methodology. Bank is a communication assessment that you can do, like many other assessments. It tells you about yourself. Okay. But why it's unique is because it's reverse engineered to teach you how to speak to the values of others. And this is so critical and key in communication, especially now when we're so much more restricted on how we communicate with others and the modality of that. So BANK stands for the acronym. The acronym BANK stands for the 4 personality types: the blueprint, the action, the nurturing, and the knowledge. And the first intelligence I'm going to go into today is personality intelligence. So personality intelligence helps you understand and communicate more effectively with each of the 4 bank buying personalities. And they're not just buying personalities, they're actually connecting with people whose values are very different with each code. That's why you want to speak to them very differently, okay? So you need to be thinking of people and assessing their personalities. Like, when I do anything, I think the first thing that comes into my head is like, what is their bank code? And I try and guess it while they're talking, or I'm looking at them and I'm seeing what they wear, what their background is, what is actually coming out of their mouth. Because a lot of the time, people will give you away the clues. You just have to pay attention to what they are and know what they are. Okay. So I use these value cards all the time when people are talking to me. I'm like, oh, they said this. So they said this, which is also this value. So they must be high in like a B, which is our blueprint, means they're really into structure. So a little bit of a review on all 4 of the personality types. The blueprint is someone who is very organized. They love systems and structure, planning and processes. They also need to feel like they're in control of things and that there's no risk. Okay. It's very important to them not to be risk averse. When you're talking to or working with or dealing with or trying to close a personality, the blueprint personality type, you want to make sure that you're never late, because they're sticklers for getting there on time, and they expect the same of you. They're also very professionally dressed, very polished, and they keep their voice low and very even tone. So don't be excited and, hey, what's going on and all that. So they're not looking for that. That actually turns them off. So just be very concise when you're talking to them. They like the fact that you have a lot of experience and you are considered the expert in your field. The more letters and you have behind your name, the more they validate that, because they want to make sure that they're speaking to a person who's been educated properly and can be giving them the best information they can receive on a certain subject. Okay. So that's a little bit about the blueprint. The next one is the action. This is pretty much the opposite of the blueprint. The action is the risk taker, right? So they are the mover, the shaker, the millionaire maker. They act like they drank Red Bull for breakfast, right? They love to be seen. They tend to wear name brand products like clothing, and they love to be admired, right? They're usually the loudest person in the room because they love attention, right? And so you want to make sure that when you're talking with an action, that you have something that they want. They're very picky who they work with or deal with. Make sure you look good, okay? And that when you're talking to them, what you do is a limited time offer, okay? And it's also they have a huge fear of missing out. So you want to make sure that if they don't take advantage of it, what they're going to miss out on is something that they want. Okay. That's really going to get them running to the back of the room to work with you. Right. So make sure that it looks good. It's a reasonable price and you're giving them bonuses. They love bonuses. And also when you're speaking to the action, they love competition and winning. So, you could put a contest up there. Your actions are the ones who are going to go with it, right? They love opportunity and excitement. Anything spontaneity is huge with them. So you definitely want to be pulling off that surprise party for the action. They're definitely going to appreciate it. They love winning. They love image, and they really love to get involved with people and be involved in a lot of different things because they're very social. So a lot of actions are with people like actors, entrepreneurs, people who are running podcasts, radio show hosts, people on TV, people who are creating the change in the world and, being the catalyst for change are a lot of action personality types. The next is the nurturer. So these are some of the kindest people that you'll meet. They're like the sunshine in your life. They love to help you. Their currency necessarily isn't in money. It's usually in people. So they would, they only will work with you as long as what you're doing helps others. And they have this, meter that's like their intuition. So they know if something doesn't feel good for them or they feel that something's not above board, they will have nothing to do with you. So make sure you're just being really authentic. So some of their personality traits are they love, like I said, authenticity, kindness, community, charities, personal growth, all those kinds of things are very important to them. So make sure when you're working with the nurturer that they feel valued because that's really important to them. They also have some of the biggest referral networks. So you definitely want to be connected with as many nurturers as possible. Okay, cool. The last one is the knowledge. The knowledge are probably some of the smartest people that I know. They pretty much love technology. They love learning. They love being the experts in their field. They're extremely smart, like I said, and very logical about things. So things really have to be grounded and make sense to them. They love universal truth, science, research and development, technology. They're always on the cutting edge of something new coming out, the innovative things that are new. So, these are the people who are scientists, who are doctors, nurses, people on who have spent a lot of time learning and becoming the master at the craft that they do. Okay. Sometimes when you're working with the knowledge, they're going to be the ones who ask you a million questions. So just Be patient, because it's not meant to annoy you or give you a hard time. It's because they can't make a decision because they just don't have enough information. They're all about the information. So make sure they're getting what they need to make an informed decision. And don't be upset if you don't close them on the first try. You can always book time with them and say, hey, how long do you need to look at this? They'll say, oh, probably a week. Okay, great. I literally had a client who I talked to in February. She goes, I'm not going to be available until April 28th to talk about this. Can we book an appointment for then? And she booked an appointment out with me for 2.5 months. And so we picked up the appointment and now she's a client again. So it's all about that kind of thing, right? So when they say, no, not right now, they really mean that. It's not, no, I'm leaving. Book the appointment with them so that you do not lose that lead. Okay. The other thing about the knowledge is once they realize that you are the expert in their field and they validate you, they will go out and be your biggest fan and tell everybody they know about you. Okay. So you could create a great referral network that way as well. So that's a little bit about our personality science. I spend usually a little bit more time there because it's the basis of our 6 intelligences. And I really want you to get a good grip on what that's about. The next intelligence is sales intelligence. And, I felt when I went through this, years ago that this was where I was sorely lacking and I really needed to step it up. So basically, sales intelligence applies personality intelligence, which I just talked about, to the sales process by appealing to someone's personal values and buying triggers for each personality. So it was created for the purpose of revealing the prospect's buying behavior and personal motivations so that you have the information you need to increase your sales velocity, which would be, the top part of the equation, be, what you sell, what the value is, how many you sell, what the percentage is. And on the bottom of that is how long it takes you. So the thing that you want to be changing is you want to be closing more sales in less time and changing that bottom number to a smaller number so that you can push more sales through. So when you're working on sales intelligence, start using your tracker. Make sure you're tracking your sales, where you are in the sales process, and keeping an eye on that, because I feel like that's where a lot of people are lacking if that's not their strongest intelligence. So starting to track things not only gives you a snapshot of where everybody is, but where new business can be created in your sales as well. Okay, and why for those that you didn't close, you can really take a look at why you didn't close those. Okay, next is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, has become a buzzword the last year or so, especially with everything going on in the world. So it's the ability to optimize your personal and professional relationships based on self-regulation, internal motivation, empathy, self-awareness, and social skills. Okay, and that's really like the boom, that's it. So to raise your emotional intelligence, you'll need to understand how to modify your communication strategy and improve self-regulation through greater awareness. Okay, key word there, awareness of others' motivations and personal values. Okay, so we're tying this back to the personality intelligence and the sales intelligence. Because when that happens, you'll discover a heightened sense of emotional awareness that will take your personal and professional relationships to a whole new level of authenticity and mutual respect. And that's really what you're looking for with emotional intelligence. So talking to someone's values, right? And realizing how they react to the sales process and what they need, and being willing to be the space and be more introspective about how you deal with them is really key to being emotionally intelligent. So just because someone says something, you don't want to be reactive, right? You want to kind of go in and check in about that. Well, how does that make me feel? Is it personal? Because I can tell you it's never personal when it's about that, okay? So someone else's opinion is exactly that, someone else's opinion. And really, if you let it affect you, then it can not only have debilitating effects on who you are, but how you move forward. Okay. So remember, it's never about you. It's just about them and how you can help them. Okay. And what's in it for them. Because once you start to realize that, you become a lot more space for people and don't take things so personally. And this is where your emotional intelligence will start to move up. Okay. The next intelligence, now that we've talked about kind of the trifecta, so the personality, the sales, and the emotional intelligence, they all work together. And we're going to move this into artificial intelligence, which has also been something that's become extremely prevalent in the world today, right? So artificial intelligence analyzes content, okay, and validates the effectiveness of messages, right? It analyzes the empathy of a message and validates the personality type that will be most receptive. So it actually takes hours and hours and hours of work out of your day and actually plugs it in and makes it more efficient. So you get an answer like that, right? And it's almost like talking to a person who does all those 3 hours of work for you in 1 second, right? So you want to, when you work with artificial intelligence, you're going to expand your reach and application of this tool in all aspects of your business and personal life, because it's going to give you those answers right away, right? So this person said this, I plugged it into the artificial intelligence. This was the personality code that came up. So now I need to speak to this person in this way. Okay, and these values. So it's kind of like you got this like little edge on your back shoulder. And the Codebreaker Technologies, who runs the bank product, has some incredibly innovative tools and technology that we've implemented, and it's just getting more and more, incredible every moment. So I know that the AI scripter that I use has been extremely effective, not only helping me build more sales, close more sales in less time, but most importantly, build those relationships and that referral network that I'm looking for in my business to help create more for other people. And that is really why I am driven to do what I do. So you want to make sure with when you're using the AI, it's going to help you to make certain that your messaging is going to have the maximum impact for all your current and future clients and your personal relationships. Okay, so I urge you to reach out to me and connect with me, because I really would be happy to speak to you about the innovative technology that we have around that, because you're going to find it fascinating. And like I said, it's really enhanced my business. The fifth intelligence we're going to talk about is business intelligence. It's a technology-driven process for analyzing data and presenting actionable information to help business owners make informed business decisions. Okay, this is not my strength, and I was also very weak in this because I was all about the connecting with people. That was where I was with things and making money and doing this and that. And I didn't have that base of business intelligence that I needed to put in. So things like KPIs, which would track my projects and what I was doing. So all of the systems that I needed to put in place to make me more effective, not only in my business, but in my life, were missing. And so now that I've started to put all those in place, it's a whole different ball of wax for me. So when your business intelligence starts to move upward, you'll leverage the tools that you have and the systems and structure that you've put in place to explore and identify buying and behavior patterns in your target market. So it's going to allow you to niche down what you're doing because you're clear about what that business intelligence looks like. You'll know your ideal customer avatar and what their bank code is and how to speak to them. Not only your customers, but all the contacts in your network. And it's just going to make your life so much easier. So business intelligence is something that it's not that hard to raise your level of that. As long as you apply these principles of using KPIs and other tools that can help that happen, so that you're not spending all the time floundering out there trying to figure out how to be successful. Okay, use those tools. It doesn't mean that you're weak or that because you don't know about something, you're less of a person. Use them to collaborate with you to create more in your business. And lastly, we're going to talk about spiritual intelligence. It's our capacity for developing meaning, vision, and value. Okay, it underlies the things we believe in and the role our beliefs and values play in the actions that we take. So to increase your score in this and bring your spiritual intelligence up, you need to define your why. And we really talk about the why, but what is the why? It's actually your divine purpose. Okay, and what you want to do is you want to master the 4 levels of wealth. And I talked about this last week when we did spiritual intelligence. The first level is money. The second is relationships. The third is knowledge. And the fourth is spirituality. And you can do this by applying all of the other 5 intelligences and personality intelligence throughout your life in all areas. The ultimate goal is the ultimate goal is spiritual self-actualization. Now, when I talked about the 4 levels, I realized once I went through this, I was missing that bottom level for money. Okay. I had to go back and restructure everything and fill the gaps that were missing and shore those up with the systems and processes that I needed. So maybe someone else needs something else to get the money flowing and, to get everything moving in the right direction. And it's made a huge change in how not only I run my business, but how I interact with others and help them run theirs and build their leadership and their communication expertise. Because I feel that all of us can use more of that training wherever it comes from. These are huge subjects, leadership and communication. And in that vein, I'm going to be changing. This is, as I said, my last day on the Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. I'm going to be moving to Thursdays at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. I'm really excited about that because we're going to start off speaking about leadership. And I'm going to get you to start creating a framework around what that means to you. Leadership, as I said, is a huge subject, and communication is also going to be in there, as well as many other things like how you're making an impact, success strategies, all those things that are going to create greater for you. So that's a wrap for today. Please join me. Don't forget, I'm not here on Wednesdays anymore. Barry's taking the whole hour for his storytelling time with Gems, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy that immensely. But I will see you next Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you're gonna see me and my show, Leadership with Laura, then, and I look forward to it. And I want to thank you all for joining me in this last series. Let's move together through to the next one and talk about all things leadership and communication. I will see you all next week. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye for now.
Good morning, everybody.
Today it's a Pat and Barb show.
Mic is on. Thank you so much, Laura. Awesome. Like I said, I am so happy that she's going to continue on with the family. Yes, we are a family. We're a family. And she will say, like she said, she'll be on Thursdays. We're getting her all together now. You're going to see a new look with her intro when she comes in. We're working on some videos for her and stuff. So, we got to set her right. We got to set her straight. So I'm really excited. And really, like she said, leadership is a huge thing to talk about, from work to personal life to being working together one-on-one with people, being working with groups. It's all have to do with leadership, just leadership in general. I always tell everybody every day, you're a leader. You are a leader. When you walk out that door, you're a leader because people are watching you. And on your puppet say, watching me. Oh, no, I got to be careful when I walk out the door. No, don't get paranoid. But people are really watching. I mean, I didn't really realize that until I started doing the things that I do and like go to the store or whatever that. And people are like, oh, I like your shirt. Oh, I like your bag. Or you have such a nice personality. And I was like, oh, okay, I don't even know you. And I'm thinking about it, I'm like, wow, people are really paying attention. So you can, move people to a positive mode or you can move people to a negative on how you carry yourself. And that's what I kind of mean by leadership because just caring, doing what you do, how you show up in life is a leadership of its own. So Laura's going to get all into that. And again, I'm getting all like a little kid in the candy store because I cannot wait till she just brings on her gifts and her genius that she has in her. So, I always got to leave. I didn't do it at the beginning because I didn't come on. I just let Barry do his thing, which he did, and that was awesome. And then I said, well, I always like to leave you with something to think about, to be like, that's a good thing to move my day in. And I want to read this, and then I know Barry's still in the room, so I'm going to bring him up. Yeah, he can't. I know he's like, "What? You try to pull me off, and now you're going to bring me back up?" Well, I'm going to bring him up with the time frame. But let me read this motivational piece from this lovely. I'm loving her. I'm reading a lot of these truths by Miss Mary Ellen. It's called Ask Mary Ellen, and this is the book. Everybody, please, if you don't get any book this year, get this book, Taking Responsibility, Unleashing True Healing. This woman is awesome. She has so much good things in here to just guide you and help you. So let me read this one for you. Use the quote in the quotes, good china every day because today is all that matters. How many of you save your good china for company, your good clothes for Sunday, or your nice jewelry for a special evening out? This is a common tendency to try to save things for a special occasion. You never know when your day might be your last. Let's begin to celebrate every day that we are alive. Use the good china, wear your good clothes, and enjoy the special pieces of jewelry right now. Love that. Today, celebrate life. So I'm telling you, I say I got chills just reading that. So like she said, don't save it for whatever because you never know that day might not come because we live this life and we have to cherish every moment of it. So put your good china on, put your good clothes on, put that little jewelry that you like, little necklaces that you earrings and everything. Go out and just sit there and just be like, yeah, I'm here. This is a good day, and celebrate each day and treasure it and respect it. So with that, I'm bringing Barry on because I want him just briefly to tell us, since this is next week. Well, no, not next. He's not starting his hour next Wednesday. He's starting his hour the Wednesday after that. So, Mr. Barry, it's a Barry. Now he's quiet. Now you don't want to say that. So he'll be starting his hour show on May 19th. So I just want him to give kind of like a brief little synopsis of what you might be going to be seeing. So, Mr. Barry.
Let me talk real fast. No. Hi, Barbara. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody who watched and enjoyed the show today. Again, 200 years of history at just who Napoleon was. But what I'm going to do, in fact, I'm going to invite all of you. Jewelry is such, as I said, the whole history of mankind revolves around jewelry. So one of the things I want to do is really open it up. Really open it up, not just to as far as art, science, history, magic, but I want to open it up to all of you. Anybody who is passionate about gemstones, anybody who has questions about gemstones, I want you on my show. I want to talk about not only the way you feel about gemstones, but if you have a piece of jewelry as an appraiser. I am a licensed, trained gemological appraiser. I appraise gemstones other than hanging out with Barbara 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I go and do mobile appraising. And what is important is the actual stories that people have. I got into gemstones appraising because of a woman who was 95 years old. She had a ring that she thought was a silver ring, and it wound up being a platinum ring with a 2.5 carat diamond that she thought wasn't even real. And part of the jewelry that she had came from not Napoleon the first, but Napoleon the third's wife. She had a piece of mourning jewelry. And we sat, which should have taken maybe an hour to do appraisal. I was with her for 5 hours just learning the stories of the value of her jewelry. And that's how I began to. So I invite all of you to send an email to me, thegemhunter@mac.com, or send an email to Barbara. If you'd like to be on the show, we'll give you the codes and we'll talk about thank you. We'll talk, see how I got just the outstanding. Let's give Barbara a hand. Barbara is just like, awesome. Okay. But I would love for you guys to talk about jewelry because so many people love jewelry. They love what it means. I still think about that woman that looked at her arms. So please come on to the show. Let's make this, let's really expand. I'm going to have guests from the United States, guests from China, guests from Europe, guests from Africa, and we're going to do different. So that's what the Gem Hunter. So we're going to really expand the Gem Hunter. Other than of course, me and Napoleon is always going to hang out, but we're going to give an opportunity to everybody to have a part of this. Questions, adventures. As soon as COVID's out, we're going to be going outside in museums, seeing this. So that's what the Gem Hunter show will be about, at the adventure, the art, science, history, and magic of gemstones and precious metals. I'm done.
Wow. I'm very excited.
One last thing. Voila. There it is.
Voila.
Voila.
What is it? Voila.
Voila. Yes.
Voila. See, you're going to teach me, Barry. You're going to teach me. So thank you, Barry, for letting everybody know, because I really wanted to make sure that, because like I said, you're getting into your whole hour, and just to get people excited. You heard everything that he's going to be bringing on. I mean, we're going to be, first of all, I have to give him kudos. He made this show global. We are global. He has people from different other countries watching the Diamond Fact Experience.
China, Bangladesh, Spain, France, England, of course, the United States. Yeah. So again, come on to the show, especially if you're if you make jewelry, if you love jewelry, if you sell jewelry, come, free advertising, come on the show. Talk about your knowledge. Talk about if you're into beading or you have a different take on it. I would love to see the different cultural aspects. Today's Cinco de Mayo. And there's a whole history of gemstones, and especially like jade, coming from Mexico. That would be a wonderful thing to have on. People who live in Arizona, turquoise, things like this. So this is going to truly be a global show. The Diamond Factor is global, and we're just going to show that by having not just our faces, but your face a part of the show.
And saying Cinco de Mayo, I'm going to play the little clip again so people can just, celebrate today and, give honor and celebration for the day. So, Barry, thank you so much again. We will see you next Wednesday. We will let people know what's going on and, giving that little heads up. Barry, he's a good promoter now. So you'll be hearing a lot of what's going to be happening. So thank you, Barry.
I'm shy. I'm shy, Barbara. So I'll try to do my.
I'm shy. Get you out of that. You got to get out of that, Barry.
I got therapy later on today. I'm going to work on that because I'm shy. And just real quick, it's so funny. At first, you say, "Oh my God, what am I going to say for 10 minutes?" Then, "Oh my God, what am I going to say for 20 minutes?" Now, "Oh my God, what am I going to say for an hour?" And then once you start getting into it, you're like, I don't know if I have enough time.
You could have went on if it wasn't.
Oh my God, it's just so. One thing I didn't say, the last thing I didn't say, Napoleon loved this woman, Josephine, so much that the last words on his lips was her name. Despite everything that she did, the last word that she did, I mean, y'all, I don't want to say it, but what Josephine was kind of reminds you of a garden tool. There you go. I mean, like, come on. Again, this is okay. That's all I'm going to say. She was out there, but he loved her anyhow. So again, gem identification. She was a gemstone, but she wasn't the kind of gemstone that he needed. That's for sure. That's for sure. But that's what jewelry is. The whole history of jewelry comes around want, take, need. That's what it's about, and that's what we're going to talk about.
With that said, before I get myself in trouble, we both get in trouble. Thank you, Barry. We'll see you
Au
next week.
revoir.
Thank you
All
for
right.
your genius and your gifts.
Thank you. A bientôt.